Huge thank you to all of my patrons. What up, nerds? Welcome back to the Nerdy Narrative. My name is Leslie. Today on the channel, I have a new review for you. I just finished this one recently, and I saw it was nominated for the 2024 Goodreads Choice Awards Reader's Favorite Fantasy. I do not understand how that happened. I liked it. It was okay, but it certainly does not rank up high enough for me to consider voting for this one in that category. Let's get into it, shall we? I'm talking about The Warm Hands of Ghost by Katherine Arden. Like many of you out there, I picked this one up because I love the Winter Night trilogy. My goodness, that is one of my favorite fantasy reads, dark retellings, whatever you want to call it, fairy tale retelling. I don't care what you call that trilogy. It's amazing. So I want to tamper your expectations if you've read that trilogy but not read this one. Completely different style, completely different genre, really, with only a little bit of that writing style from Katherine Arden. It takes place during the Great War. A combat nurse, Laura, searches desperately to find her brother, who is believed to be dead in the trenches despite some very interesting yet eerie signs that say otherwise. The Warm Hands of Ghost is a historical novel that does have a speculative twist to it and also magical realism. Some people say fantasy. I say magical realism. You'll have to read and decide for yourself. So this story is told in the timelines of the siblings. Laura's takes place in 1918. Freddie's takes place in 1917. In 1918, Laura, a very highly decorated combat nurse, has returned home to Halifax after being injured. The enemy had turned its eye and its focus to bombing hospitals, which is what happened to Laura. As soon as she gets home, she takes up a job with 3 elderly sisters. She's there at their home working one day. A ship comes into the port where her mother and father live in a home right there on the water. Bomb goes off. Her father and mother are both killed. Just tragedy upon tragedy for Laura. She receives a very interesting message along with her brother's things, his jacket, his dog tags, that lead her to believe that Freddie might not be dead despite the fact that she's received all of his things. She decides to go over there and investigate herself. Freddie's timeline starts a year prior. He's in the thick of it. There's bombs going off. He takes cover, but is trapped under a pillbox with a German soldier. This is the part where the book description says, "Against all odds, these 2 soldiers form an unlikely alliance." As a seasoned reader, we all know exactly what's going to happen. These 2 are going to get past their differences. They're going to see each other as human beings. They're going to form an alliance and try to survive and escape. I loved Freddie's storyline. The majority of this book is spent with Laura, so I'm assuming she's supposed to be our main character. She is so uninteresting. Her storyline doesn't have purpose. It's kind of willy-nilly. There's a bunch of things that happen that seemed convenient, and they did, in my opinion, end up being plot conveniences for later on. I just didn't like spending time with her. I didn't like her as a character. I loved how she treated her patients. She would distract them from what she was doing, because what she was doing, changing dressings, applying stitches, cauterizing wounds, caused more pain. She would tell the patients stories, distract them with these really humorous stories, and I loved that. Freddie, though, the high stakes, is he going to live to the next page between him and this German soldier, Hans Winter. Oh my goodness. And now's a great time to mention this is narrated by January Lavoie for Laura. Michael Crouch does the voice of Freddie. It was superb. The narration was absolutely superb. Both of these narrators just did a tremendous job. Once they do escape the danger of being trapped and slowly suffocating, A new danger awaits on the outside of the pillbox. The war is still going on. They have no idea it's nighttime. They have no idea they've been turned around. There is a person that they encounter that offers them a little bit of a too easy way out, but it seemed the best way at the time that will avoid having to face being in prison, depending on whose side they end up going to, or even being accused of being defectors. And that's where things get interesting. That's what kept me turning the pages. I wanted to know what happened next. At time of filming, The Warm Hands of Ghost has an average of a 4-star rating on Goodreads. I only gave it 3. Here's why. I only liked about half of the plot points. I loved Freddy's plot. I thought he had a great storyline. In fact, you could have removed the majority of Laura's plotline and I would have been perfectly happy. I don't think it would have detracted anything from the book, actually. It would have just been an unput-downable novella. The characters got the highest rating for me because I loved Freddy, I loved Venter, I loved Faland. This is the person that Freddy and Venter meet. He is this mysterious person who runs this hotel. It's magical. You can go in and the wine is flowing. Everything is beautiful. It's classy. It's elegant. Everything is trimmed in gold. The wine is just delicious. But the rumors are once you drink with Faland, you never ever get past that. You will always want to search and find him again, but the rumors around him are that you're only able to find him once. I actually went looking on my own to see if this was a real story that circulated during this Great War, and it was not. There were several other supernatural rumors that were passed around during this time frame that Katherine Arden did incorporate into this story, which I really love. She really captured the atmosphere of the war perfectly. And to piggyback onto that, if you don't do well reading themes of war, the dark side of what happens during the war, you might not need to pick this one up. I do believe if you suffer from PTSD or if those type of memories would be difficult for you to relive, stay away from this book. She's really too good at the atmosphere of this war. It is a bit depressing. I did feel that weighing me down a little bit, so that's just a heads up. And I don't have PTSD and I've never experienced the ugliness of war myself, but she just did a great job describing the danger that Freddy was in constantly, what Laura survived, how shell-shocked Laura was, how even when she was safe, she was back home in Halifax, she could hear certain sounds and it would trigger a response in her. And just to read about that and being able to picture that, that is heartbreaking, and it makes me have a whole new respect for the service people who protect our country. They choose to do this for us. I'm telling you. Anyway, you've been warned. If that affects you, stay away. My only issue with Faland is it's never explained who or what he actually really is. I had all of these predictions of what was going to happen with him. None of that came to fruition. I was wrong at every turn. I just expected something. I expected a moment of, okay, this is who this character is, which I would have then said, oh, it's based off this character or this fairy tale or this something or other, but nothing. And it felt incomplete to me. It left me feeling very dissatisfied. So I didn't hate reading it, and I did finish it. I did want to know how it was going to end. Did I like the ending? Sort of. It's not what I was expecting. It's not what I thought was going to happen. I had a completely different ending in mind. Well, I had 2 possible endings. Do I feel that she gave the characters, the way that she wrote them, the stories that she gave them, do I think that she gave them the right ending? Yes. I love that she never forgot that this story took place in this harsh environment of war. These characters carried the trauma of what they experienced throughout their entire lives. I like that the ending reflected that. So you'll have to let me know if you're planning to pick up this book, if you've read it. I would love to know what your rating was for this one, and if you agree about the ending. That's what I want to know the most. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that I didn't come across negative about this book. It is 3 stars. I did enjoy it, but it's not my favorite. It had some issues, and that's okay. Does this mean I'm never going to read Katherine Arden again? Of course not. I'm absolutely going to pick up the next thing that she puts out because I have faith. I know what she's capable of. I've read the Winter Night trilogy, which I am really due for a reread of that one. Ugh. It's so beautiful. But I do hope I was able to give you enough information for you to know if this is one you want to pick up. And I hope that I was able to get your expectations in the right place so that you're able to approach it in a way that's going to give you the best reading experience possible. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one. This channel would not be what it is today without the wonderful support of its patrons. Thanks again to all of the Nerdy Narrative patrons, with a special shout out to the Nerds Radiant: Chad, John, Gail, Amanda, Star, Tara, Ann, Amanda, Andrew, Kate, Ev, Sharon, and Wilbur.